In the last video, I added products to a physical cart, meaning it's not an online cart. I used the aisle inventory map to first get a map of products by product category. From that map, I retrieved the inventory item using a product name, like apple or coffee. I used the method to both add items to the cart and to remove them, passing the quantity to be added or removed. These methods adjusted the reserved quantity on the inventory item for that product. It's time to work on the virtual cart now for online orders. Again, I wanted to have yesterday's date, so I'll pass one to the constructor. I'll add the new cart to my cart set. Because it's a virtual cart, I'm going to add items by getting them by the SKU from the full inventory map. You can imagine that if a shopper is picking items from an online catalogue, the SKU would be available from that process and would just get passed like I'm doing here. The SKU here is for lemons, and I want 20 lemons. I'll also add 10 bananas, SKU B100, and I'll print the second cart. Running this code now. You can see cart 2 with yesterday's date and 2 products, B100, quantity 10, and L103, quantity 20. And you can also see these numbers reflected in the quantity reserved counts in the inventory. I'll set up a new cart, another virtual one, but using today's date, so I'll pass 0. I'll add that cart to my cart set. I'll add some rice check SKU R777, and I'm going to order a lot of them, 998. I'll print this cart out. When I check this cart out, this should execute my low threshold code. So let me set that up now. I'll call checkout cart and pass cart 3. This method returns a boolean, so if a false comes back, then we know something went wrong, and I can print a message confirming that. If I ran that now, I'd get a message that says something went wrong, because I haven't added the necessary logic in the checkout cart method yet. I'll do that now. First, I'll just change the return false to return true. Next, I want to set up a for loop before the return statement. I'm going to get the view, the entry set of the products in my cart, and loop through each of these entries. Notice we have an error there with the getProducts method. It doesn't exist. I meant to add a getter 2 videos ago when setting up our cart. Let me switch over quickly now and add the getter so that the code compiles. Right, that's the getter created. Let's go back to the store class again. Back in the checkout cart method, remember that entry is a nested interface type on map, and each of these has a key and a value. I can get the key using getKey and the value using getValue. GetKey is going to return the product SKU, which is how I've keyed products in my products map. GetValue is going to return the quantity of this product, how many I want to buy. I really want the inventory item, and I can get that from my full inventory set using cart item getKey, which returns the SKU. I get the quantity using getValue. I'll assign that to a local variable, quantity. I'm going to invoke sellitem on each inventory item, passing the quantity. If that method returns false, I want to stop processing and quit out of this method, returning false. If this loop ends successfully, it means I've executed sellitem on every inventory item successfully. That means I can print a sales slip. After that, I want to remove the cart from my carts list. Now I'll rerun my code to see how it goes. Here you can see that I get a message informing us that the system is ordering more Rice Chex cereal, 1,000 more units. I also get the sales slip printed after that. Thank you for your sale, and it prints the line items and the full price of 998 boxes of Rice Chex. After this, the inventory is printed for all products. Looking at Rice Chex mix in the inventory, SKU R777, you can see that the total quantity, the first number in square brackets, is now 0002, and the reserved quantity is 0. The checkout code that adjusts the inventory is working. It reset the reserved count, subtracting the quantity from the reserved quantity. It decremented the quantity from the total quantity, the stock in inventory. It also automatically ordered more Rice Chex when the inventory total quantity went below the threshold, the low quantity, which I had set to 5 for all inventory items. Okay, so I'm going to create one more cart, a physical one, dated today. I'll add that to my cart set. I'm going to add 1 box of tea to this last cart, and I'll print that out. Running that. You can see cart 4 and the inventory again. I can confirm that the reserved count for the last item in my inventory, herbal tea, is 1. Let me print out my carts next in the main method. Reviewing the output from running the code, you can see I have 3 carts at this point, carts 1 and 2 with yesterday's date and cart 4 with today's date. Lastly, I want to implement the abandoned carts code. This code is going to remove items from abandoned carts and then remove the carts from the cart set. An abandoned cart is going to be any cart that doesn't have today's date. To set this up, I first want to get the current day of the year. I'll call local date now, then chain get day of year, assigning that result to my day of year variable. I'll set up a local variable last cart and set it to null. This variable will get set to the last cart in the cart set with a date that's not equal to the current date. I'll loop through the carts. If the cart's day of the year is equal to today, I want to break this loop. Otherwise, I'll assign last cart the current cart instance. I've kind of dummied my data up, but you can imagine that the shopping carts, which are in cart ID order, would have newer carts with IDs that are greater than older carts. This means I can loop from the start of my sorted set of carts, and as soon as I find a cart that has a day of the year the same as today's, I can break the loop. I assign each current cart instance until that point to last cart. This means that when I break out of this loop, last cart should be referencing the last cart of the previous day. I can now use the last cart to splice my cart set using the headset method. I'll set up a variable called old carts and assign that the result of calling the headset method on carts. I'll pass last cart, and I'm going to set the inclusive flag to true. Now old carts has all the carts from our cart set that don't have today's date. I'm going to set up a local variable called abandoned cart, initializing it to null. I'll kick off a while loop, executing poll first on the old carts set, assigning whatever comes back from that to the abandoned cart variable. If that's not null, my loop statements will get executed. Each cart has a map of product, and I want to loop through the key set of that collection. Each key represents a SKU. I'll use the SKU to find the product in the inventory collection. I'll then call release item on that inventory item, which will reset the reserved quantity for the item. This code is simply going to adjust the reserved quantity in my inventory, subtracting the abandoned product's quantity from the reserved quantity. I'll call this method from my main method. I'll again print my inventory after that. And also the cart set. If I run this code now, first I want you to see that there are 3 carts before this code executes, and 2 of them have a date of yesterday. After the execution, there is only 1 cart, and that cart has today's date. Also, look at the inventory both before and after, looking just at the first 4 items. Before I ran the abandoned carts method, I had 6 apples, 10 bananas, 20 lemons and 3 pears in reserve. Looking at the inventory printed after execution, you can see that the reserve quantities had been reset to 0. The only reserved quantity that's not 0 is the one that has tea, which is the product that's in my only remaining cart. Are you confused about how the carts got deleted, or do you remember that's what poll first really does? It's removing the cart from the view when I execute it on line 92. The view is named old carts, which I got by calling headset above. When I call poll first on that, it takes the first element, removes it from the set and returns it from this method. Because the set's only a view, the element is removed from the view source, my cart set. In this case, this is exactly what I want. Okay, so that's the inventory system for my grocery store. I hope you had some fun with this and used your own collection ideas to implement it. Maybe you included an extra field to hold the shelf quantity for the aisle inventory, and that would have been a great idea. I tried to give you a taste of many of the collection interfaces in this code sample, as well as review some of the concepts I went over with you in this section's videos. This is the last video in our collections framework section, and you should be proud of yourselves for reaching this point. This was a pretty big and important part of the Java language. You'll be using collections in almost everything you do. In the next section, I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about immutable and unmodifiable classes and related topics and why these are important. See you in the next section.